I mean, I've literally had this conversation and also this thought process in my head 1 billion gajillion times. And
You think about it every day.
yeah, it's just ADHD. Yeah.
It's my Roman Empire.
Yeah. Well, the Roman Empire is also my Roman Empire, but yeah, it's it's one of those things.
Welcome to the Cinema So Far podcast, the podcast where good friends talk about great cinema. I'm your host, James, and today we have Sydney.
Hey, chicken Chinese chicken.
We got Paul.
Yo.
Alex.
Okie dokie.
Yes, and today we are covering Fallout, Season 1, Episode 7, titled The Radio. And the synopsis for, well, actually, let me go into the directors. The directors for this episode were Claire Kilner and Frederick E.O. Toy. Writer was Chaz Hawkins. And I'm going to read the little summary here that is provided to us by IMDb. This episode, the residents of Vault 4 prepare to expel Lucy for breaching the forbidden level 12. Thaddeus finds means to heal his foot. Norm infiltrates Vault 31, and Moldaver convinces Howard to distrust his wife. Okay, so this is an episode where we're getting really close to the end. They call it the penultimate. And whenever it comes to these episodes, I really like that there is a mystery involved. So, of course, with this one, a lot of the mysteries get solved. There's some things that we really learned, but there's a few that are, lingering, threads that still need to be pulled. And so I'm a big fan of this episode, but what do you guys think?
I didn't think the next episode would top the last episode, and it did. So this is my favorite episode thus far. I'll probably keep saying that as we go on.
I thought it was interesting because it is starting to answer some questions. I think some things are still not clear, but, things are coming into full view, but there's still so much that needs to be figured out and solved. So I'm curious to see the next episode and how they're going to wrap season 1 up.
True.
I liked it. I think it was cinematically is probably one of my favorite episodes. There were some good Easter eggs and things like that. I do like that it's getting a little bit closer. There's some comedy in there I really enjoyed as well. And yeah, it's definitely kind of opened it up and left to a point where you're just like, you can't wait to get to the final episode.
Yeah, they really strike that right balance of, comedy, drama, a little bit of horror, and I feel like they just nail it every time with the mix of, it's the right tone. Nothing ever really feels like there's really no like tonal clashes, you know what I mean?
There was a romance. I almost cried at one part and laughed out loud several times.
Okay,
it was really hard not to move to the next episode.
What were these parts that you cried or laughed on?
Cried. The dog scene between the ghoul when he was sitting around the fire with dog meat and he was telling him, "You'll never be him," after they showed him with his previous dog.
Yeah, Roosevelt.
The romance, they finally kissed. Thought that was so cute. And laughed the Cyclops guy and the magic potion man.
Oh yeah.
When he was he trying?
That was a great twist. That was a great twist. I enjoyed the magic, the doctor.
It's funny you mentioned the dog thing. About him saying you'll never be him. Sorry, dog meat, you'll never be him. To me, I guess I get it, right? A man and his dog, right? However, to me, it was giving me the same energy as in Dewey Cox. When Dewey Cox's dad's like, the wrong kid died. That's what I don't know why it reminded me of that. Wrong kid died.
Wrong dad died.
And I love that Eric Estrada was in it too.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, Chips
Mr.
himself.
Ah, Coke.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the recap. Well, before we get into the recap, let's play the name game again. So the name of the episode is The Radio. Any ideas as far as the different meanings that can kind of be tied to that?
When I was going into the episode, I clocked the title and I don't get it. I don't have anything for you there. I don't. Well, maybe the communication between the vaults or the radar, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's one,
Yeah.
I think.
That's kind of what I took it as was, I mean, I was amazed that he was listening to a radio as he was walking, so
Yeah.
that, first of all, not necessarily that somebody's trying to broadcast the radio, but that he was walking and actually had one in his back pocket. I just thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, and so there's Mr. Portlandia himself. Oh my gosh, Fred Armisen. He was broadcasting over the radio, right? Wasn't he?
Right.
So I had a question.
That folk music.
Fiddle music, yeah.
Yeah, that fiddle music.
I had a
really
question.
good fiddle music.
Sorry, I had a question because I was actually going to ask. Because did you guys clock his voice before you ever saw him? Like when Thaddeus pulled out the radio and heard him for the first time, where you're like, "Oh, that's Fred Armisen." Did anybody catch that?
He has a really distinct voice. I mean, I think I did the
yeah.
first time, but
Yeah.
of course I knew he was in it the second time I watched.
See, I wasn't sure, but I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Fred Armisen, and I was gonna look up the IMDb, and I was like, no, I want to be surprised, and yeah, sure enough, it was. But
And maybe there's another one. I don't know if it's like Bluetooth or radio waves, but maybe it was Cooper listening in on his wife with that device, potentially. Maybe it's using radio waves. I don't know.
It's the Fallout version of looking at your significant other's cell phone.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so we have a few meanings possibly for that title, but let's go ahead and get into the recap. So the episode starts with the ghoul ambushing two scavengers, like you mentioned. Adam Estrada is one of them, and his son
Eric
Tommy.
Estrada.
Eric Estrada.
his name's Adam in the show though.
But yeah, Eric Estrada, Adam in the show, and Tommy, his son, and they're in their home. And the ghoul interrogates them about Moldaver's whereabouts, reveals that he's killed Adam's older son, Rufus, and found a letter mentioning Tommy's involvement in Moldaver's cult and her location. The letter was damaged and the location was unreadable. And then, basically at gunpoint, Tommy reluctantly reveals that Moldaver is at the Griffith Observatory. And
Quick note.
Yeah.
That's where I proposed to my wife.
Oh, really? There.
Throwing that out there. Yeah.
Okay. Before the fallout.
Yeah, definitely before the fallout.
And the ghoul gives Tommy a chance to walk away, but he ends up killing him when he tries to pull a gun. So yeah, that was a really cool opening scene, not only because of the world building with them searching for bullet, for caps. I get not caps, but like the bullet casings with the metal detectors. It kind of just like fills out the world, I think, with like, hey,
Mining
this is
for
what
lead.
Yeah, this is what people are doing to survive. And then one of my favorite parts of that scene was how everyone, including Adam and Tommy, thought that the ghoul was eating the little girl. The way he was just taking those bites and looking directly at them. You didn't really know, but yeah, until she walked in.
I think as the audience too, I was like, even me, like not assuming that he would do that, but he's done some, he's eaten like ass meat and stuff, like ass jerky.
Yeah.
So I couldn't put it past him. So even there, I was like, no.
So is that more a commentary on the ghoul or is it more a commentary on the world?
Well,
I
that's a
believe.
good point. I mean, what do you mean? Just so I know I'm on the same wavelength here.
Well, is it that ghouls would eat people without much thought to it, and the normal people, the other surfies, they wouldn't be doing that? Or is that a common thing among all the surfies? I don't know.
I mean, Alex can probably speak to this more, but from what I took, and I never played the game, but I thought it was that the ghoul definitely does, right? Like ghouls definitely eat people, like they would eat chickens, they would eat people. But like you said, like I think it's a commentary on this particular ghoul because I don't know, maybe he's changing a little bit. He was eating his friend for sure, and maybe before he met Lucy, he might have killed this little girl and done ate her or whatever. But I think maybe he's changing for the better just from that influence from Lucy. I don't know. That's my headcanon anyway.
He did still kill the son, but I
Yes.
agree. I totally agree that Lucy is softening him up a little bit. And that I was truly shook when we saw the ghoul eating. That was such a powerful scene for how like simple it was. It was genuinely scary to me to see that guy eating at the table, walking in
Yeah.
the house.
Yeah. Who knows what he was eating, right?
Ugh.
And then they call for the daughter and no response. First.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think like, okay, so this is one of those tropes that they have in movies all the time, right? You know, the
The
bad
bait and
guy
switch.
kills the hero or whatever, but then their son or daughter is there and they're young and they just leave them, knowing that that son or daughter is going to grow up and come back for revenge, right? So in my mind, like I think he was just kind of closing that loop. Like, all right, I'm not going to just wait around for you to try to come back and get me. I'm just going to take you out here.
Miss Smart. I mean,
I think
I bet it would have went. I bet it would have went there. You've just been looking behind his shoulder.
Yeah.
so. I have a lot to say about this specific opening, but we'll kind of talk about what we were talking about here now. So from my perspective, I think it's definitely more because he's a ghoul. I don't know if that's necessarily because it's specifically his own reputation, because he is still more humanized, right? And we have not seen him eat living humans. He's basically only ate dead humans, or he's eaten ghouls specifically. So we can't say whether or not he's been going around eating like living humans. Um, it could be. I'm not gonna say it isn't. But yeah, I think it's more a commentary on in the game, ghouls eat flesh. That's what they do. And but also in the wasteland, there's a lot of cannibals. It's not just,
Yeah.
but would they see a human sitting there and be as assuming that he was eating the daughter? Maybe not, but it's still a possibility. Um, and as far as the son goes, he did give him a chance to let him go, though. He straight up was just like, "Hey, I know you're going to want to pull that gun. So we're going to do this way. We're going to do it the other way." And then as soon as he pulled the gun, he shot him. So
Yeah.
there, whether that Lucy has something to do with that or not, I'm not entirely sure. But it definitely well could be. But Cindy mentioned the eating part, right? And I completely agree. I think that's like not even just the idea that it's like his daughter potentially that the ghoul's eating, but just like how just disrespectful it is to go into somebody's house and be eating their food, and then waiting, and then just how the ghoul was so just stoic and unmoving,
Especially in the wasteland, right?
right? Exactly. And so that brings me to a few different points. One, the opening music, I don't know if you heard that. It was in the last one too, but that's actually like from Fallout 4. That's the Fallout 4 theme.
Oh, okay.
Little Easter egg there. And then the outfits that they were wearing when they were digging up that stuff, that is a reference to the NSR, or sorry, NCR Rangers from New Vegas. They actually wear like the masks and everything. But then the big thing for me was that the scene was a direct homage to Angel Eye's scene in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And what you see is the same kind of like, it's opening to like isolated area. It kind of a wide shots of an isolated area that kind of gives you this kind of sense of isolation. And then a menacing man intruding, and he's just sitting there eating the guy's food. And the commentary or the dialogue between the two of them, it's very one-sided, right? Like, who has the control, and this kind of building of tension where it's like there's this either silence or like lighter music, and then it crescendos at the end into this kind of bigger sound. And so I know that, James, you've seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and Sydney, you saw that scene. I don't know if Paula has, but wouldn't you agree that that's a pretty good homage to that? Even up to the point of him shooting his son, because it happens in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly as well. But there was another movie, and I wonder if you guys can guess it, where the opening scene has the same structure, and it's an homage to.
It's a newer movie.
Yeah, newer in the past 20 years.
Okay. That's a good question. A Western?
No. It takes a lot of notes from Westerns, but it's not a Western.
Might be too deep of a cut for me.
Yeah. I don't think it would. I tell you,
I need a hint.
Definitely for me.
I'm gonna need a hint, like an actor or something.
Oh, that's gonna be Brad Pitt.
Anybody.
He wasn't in the scene, but he's in the
Cool
movie.
World. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a good one.
Fight Club.
7? No.
No.
All right, I don't know.
It's the opening scene for Inglourious Bastards.
Gotcha.
Yes. And you know what's crazy? I just watched that again, like very recently, so I probably should have got that.
But yeah,
James, you get an F. F.
No cool points for me.
But now you get it though, right? Like the same thing, opening to like a secluded area. They're all three of them are farmers of some sort. He sits down at the table. He's drinking his milk. He's like controlling the whole conversation. His presence is menacing, and then it always ends at the end with like just a brutal killing, right?
Yeah.
And then if you notice in Inglourious Bastards too as well, like it's very silent. And then as soon as they start, Ova Shoshana, like all the music gets really heavy.
Epic scene.
I was going to ask if it was a Quentin Tarantino movie. I thought that would be too obvious, though.
No, that would have been a good guess because Quentin Tarantino said the only perfect trilogy ever created is the Fistful of Dollars trilogy, which is Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So he paid direct homage to that in Inglourious Bastards.
Okay. Yeah. Great movie. And you're right. It does really remind me of that. It's really reminiscent of that. Yeah. And just a great scene all around, right? Like, I wonder what's going to come from that aside from the ghoul now knows where Moldaver is, right? Like, so that's really what we get from that scene. And, now we go on to, let's see, we go flashback to when Cooper Howard attends a secret meeting led by Moldaver, and back then she was called Mrs. Williams. She claims that Vault-Tec suppressed her cold fusion technology, keeping the world dependent on fear. And Moldaver gives Cooper a listening device to convince him to use Vault-Tec access through his wife to uncover the corporation's secrets. And this was another really cool scene where we're digging into the mystery, kind of just uncovering what is going on, like who's pulling the strings here, and what is this Moldaver character all about? Because we've, since the first few episodes, she was the villain, and now I don't know, the way she sounds, I'm not so sure.
Well, I thought a great line was her talking about, they only call people commies who, I don't remember the rest of it, but
who aren't insane. Yeah.
Right. So, I don't know. Again, there's commentary going on as always, but it was an interesting comment. Like anybody who's different than you, they're a commie or whatever. So
Yeah. They get labeled with this discrediting phrase, label,
yeah.
right?
But I mean, that whole interaction between her and him, and saying, who's sold out to who, what was it worth, all those types of questions are kind of at the core of what the show is. Although, there's all this other stuff going on in the wasteland and good versus evil almost.
I have a weird random note about that scene, that she was holding a cup of tea that was weirdly pissing me off for some reason. um in some like body language kind of study, holding a warm drink is supposed to imply that you're a warm person, but she just seemed way too comfortable trying to appear warm while being so controlling. So the tea rubbed me the wrong way.
It was like Kermit the Frog, like sipping on that tea.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Well, yeah, that's what Cooper was saying at first, right? I thought it was really interesting how when he goes into that room, he feels like it's propaganda at first, and then she says something that kind of gets him to actually talk to her. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was something.
Well,
like,
she starts questioning him.
Yeah,
and him and his family essentially, but you are this great cowboy, and now you're working for Vault-Tec too. What are you worth?
Well, I think more so is when because she mentions that she knows his wife specifically.
Yeah.
And we later find out that she worked at Vault-Tec, so that would make sense. But it's like, but yeah, that was what really caught him, because I think at this point he's already been kind of a little skeptical of his wife. And he gets up and he's like, "Oh, this is the biggest load of horse shit I've ever seen," blah blah. And then she mentions his wife, and it makes him do a double take and kind of turn around.
And I thought it was funny how his friend got all embarrassed that he was there because he brought him to the meeting.
Now, as far as the hero villain dynamic when it comes to Moldaver or Vault-Tec or the corpse, right? And I felt this before I even got further in, like as I'm first watching this, like Moldaver gave me this kind of vibe of like, she's no better than the corp, she's just on the other side, right? And it kind of goes back to what I was talking about last episode, is like there's this kind of dichotomy of like extremes. There's the communists versus the corpos, or the corporate capitalists, and we're all pawns in their game, right? Everybody's being used for something, and I don't know what that is, right? We don't know yet, but we know that obviously, Cooper the Ghoul has a vendetta against Moldaver, so she couldn't have been, the good guy per se, but she gives me that vibe, and I think just the way she carries herself, she definitely has that like kind of like 1950s communist leader kind of vibe about her. The tea to me was not so much like it. It was on brand for me because it just seemed pretentious, especially the way she was holding it. She's just kind of like, twirling the bag in there and talking down to him like she's fucking better than him. So
it's funny you guys mentioned the tea, because I didn't even like clock the tea at all when I was watching.
It was pissing me off bad.
and then when she says, "Oh, we're not communists, that's just what people call us," well, like she's obviously under the guise of being a communist, because everybody that they've spoken to, all the people who are communists, are following her. So what does that mean? She's playing at something, right? She's not considering herself a communist, right? But that was
we'll find out.
To that point, that was a commentary that I did kind of appreciate, because it does go back to kind of the Red Scare with Hollywood, how there were communists in Hollywood, but not everybody was a communist, and it was a witch hunt. So it's like, okay, well, like I don't like that guy, so he's a communist now, you know. And that was literally kind of the thing. Is like if anybody was against the status quo of that point in time, they were called a communist. So that was a valid, I think, commentary. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
And on both sides, right? Because even Cooper's actor friends now would not associate with him because of his association with Vault-Tec.
Oh, 100%. And
So
that looks like
it works both
politics
ways.
today. It's like politics today. It's like you're MAGA. Everybody, you know, the other side hates you. If you're, whatever it is, pro-Israel, anti-Israel, it's all just this stupid, like, we can't sit down and have a conversation type shit.
Yeah, so it was interesting to hear those conversations between Cooper and Moldaver.
Yeah.
But back in the present, Lucy McLean is detained in Vault 4 by Overseer Benjamin and Birdie. She learns the Vault's original scientists did unethical experiments, and the creatures from those experiments now roam level 12. The Gulpers. Lucy's banished to the surface and given 2 weeks of supplies, and she pleads for Maximus to be able to stay in the vault. So yeah, this was a scene where just more questions are being answered, right? Like in the episode before, we saw those scientists, or maybe it was a couple episodes before, but we saw those scientists in the advertisement saying how, this vault's going to be run by scientists and everything's going to be all good. But here we're seeing a totally different story. These scientists with well-meaning intentions, things didn't work out the way they thought.
Well, he was even defending it at as he's about to get eaten.
Yeah,
he's still defending that, this is not a problem with science,
Well, now that you bring that up, what's really funny about that, right? So on the holotape, that's another thing. That's another holotapes is a Easter egg game, not Easter egg, but it's something that's in the game. But on the holotape, the man that was telling you all that was the same man and his wife, the Hawthorns, from the commercial that Cooper did when he was talking to them. And he's like, "Oh, you're scientists, you're under the vaults, blah blah blah." That was the same people, and it's just funny. But yeah, they're just like, yeah, this is this doesn't mean that a world run by scientists is a bad thing. Don't use this as an example. And as they're getting murdered by a gulper, that also happened to be the overseer's
great grandfather,
great Uncle Peter.
that was great. That was great.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something, Sid. Were you? Before we
I
cut you
forgot
off.
what I was going to say, but I do have a random question before we get too far off of the eating dogs and people. I feel like I know what Paul is going to say, but if you were in some I shouldn't be alive situation, like there was a plane crash and you got dropped in the middle of the jungle and found a dog walking or roaming the jungle, would you kill and eat the dog? This was actually a episode and I shouldn't be alive, and he did. He ate the dog.
Oh, okay.
Why do you think you would know what my answer would be? Just out of curiosity.
Well, you were saying you would want to be the first to take me out. Take me out if there's a apocalypse. So I would, if I was dropped in the middle of the jungle, I would just be like, I'm give up. I'm done. I'm not making it.
Yeah, I don't know. This is like an unpopular opinion, but I just feel like when people are, when it comes to survival, like if there's no other choice, so maybe in the jungle you might find some other stuff, but like I always think about that movie Alive, where the soccer team gets stuck in the mountains and there's literally no way out, there's no food, and they end up having to eat their teammates to live. I think of that and I just think like, yeah, man, I don't know. Food is food, I guess, and you do what you gotta do.
I didn't expect that you to answer like that, James. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just being real. Like, of course, I would.
You don't know what you're gonna be like when you haven't eaten for 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we can say anything we want to say, in the real situation, you know, people act, your brain's not functioning the same. And, you know, sometimes I guess, you know, survival overtakes some of the other stuff that you have to
Absolutely.
do.
You don't know what
Total
you're
survival
capable
mode.
of, right? When the shit hits the fan, I guess. But what do you think, Alex?
I mean, I've literally had this conversation and also this thought process in my head 1 billion gajillion times. And
You think about it every day.
yeah, it's just ADHD. Yeah.
It's my Roman Empire.
Yeah. Well, the Roman Empire is also my Roman Empire, but yeah, it's you know, it's one of those things. But yeah, no, I think it's I would have to ultimately agree with Paul. It's one of those things where you just like you can't really say what you would do in that situation. But I've went through scenarios in my head. I think I would be more likely to eat a dog in the instance that I had to feed my family. If my child was starving, but if it was just me by myself, I think I would try to um, stay away from eating the dog. Like the dog could be a worthy companion. It could help me hunt. You know, there's a lot of things, you know, it could keep me safe at night from bigger animals. And yeah, like you said, I think that, you know, like depending if I'm in a jungle or if I'm in, you know, unless I'm in a desert or something like that, I think that I've been outdoors enough to know that there are certain ways that I can find food.
Okay, if the dog died first,
Probably, I
Dinner time.
guess, maybe. It depends on how hungry I am, and if I didn't have any other options, then probably. But also, you know, on that same subject, you brought up the movie Alive, which is actually based on a real, you know, plane crash that happened, and they were hungry and they ate their friends, and a lot of them really feel really bad for that. And I can't, you know, that's just something that they had to deal with. And I was thinking about being in that exact situation or in a situation like Yellow Jackets. You know, I think I would just go off into the woods and like, I'm Catholic, so I just pray and pray, but like, Lord, like,
You feel real guilty as you're eating this ass jerky.
I would just go away from everybody and go off into the woods and pray that I find some food, or pray that I find like another, you know, some sort of salvation, or
I don't know. That was an option in the scenario.
or you know,
Tim was
that,
pitching.
or that, you know, that potentially, you know, like that God would allow me to starve without, you know, without eating somebody, right? Like I would like to keep my integrity intact and not eat a human. If I could die without doing that, I would prefer. So, but yeah, that's my spiel.
Well, that's not fair. You know, you're basically wishing for more wishes, but all right.
That's why
We'll go with it.
That's why you have God, dude. That's why you need God.
All right. Well, thanks
Asked
for
and
appeasing
answered.
my question.
All
Back to gaslighting Lucy.
All right. So meanwhile, Maximus, thinking Lucy's in danger, steals the Vault's fusion core to power his power armor. He bursts into the scene, laying waste to the Vault common area, the supplies, and injures several people.
he's throwing them around like crazy.
Yeah. So let's just talk about this scene real quick before I keep describing. So who was watching this and thinking, oh, like these people are evil. They're all here eating popcorn, ready to see her get her head chopped off. You know, like who thought it was going there?
That was a good bait and switch. Yeah,
absolutely, and it was hysterical. What what happened with the sword and all that.
That was one of the moments I laughed out loud, and they're like, "Of course, someone's gonna carry these supplies for you to the surface." It's just like rearing back, and then just with this dull ass knife trying to
sharpen this
cut
knife.
her up. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, that was so good. It was so good. Such a clever like just twist on what you thought was going to happen.
Yeah, it really diverts your expectations of the wasteland. Like you've already seen this brutal ass, you know, people eating people, shooting people, killing people, you know, and you would just totally expect that she was going to get her head chopped off. So that was a good bait and switch. But I wanted to ask a question that's kind of similar. How many of you wondered if Maximus could make it through that whole scene without crushing somebody's skull? I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I mean, he was
surprised nobody died. Yeah.
tossing people like they were rag dolls, and then he was like, "Hey, someone needs to check on that guy." That was kind of funny too. But,
Yeah.
Well, and I
Um,
loved it when she told him to stop, and he's like, "Oh, sorry."
Oops.
yeah,
Oops.
but even before that, the other part that I laughed at is he watches her get, taken away with a bag over her head, and he's like, "I'm still gonna eat this next bite of popcorn, though."
He
And
looks like he was
that'll give me
thinking
the
real hard.
energy.
One-
Yeah,
No, I think he was like, he's like, do I save her or do I just act like I don't see it and continue living this life?
yeah. Keep eating the oysters, keep eating the popcorn.
Maybe,
Well,
maybe
and
somebody
when
else
you're
will let
eating
their
the
cock explode.
popcorn off yourself, that's when you know you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
and you've seen him act sketchy before, so you're like, maybe he is going to sit there and eat the popcorn.
It's definitely in his character,
True. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
a good point.
But now he has something to fight for. Right. And so he comes in and he's tossing people like rag dolls, throwing things and crushing all the supplies that they just gave Lucy. And Lucy forgives him immediately and asks him to live with her in Vault 33 when they find her dad. And she convinces Maximus to reluctantly return the power core to Vault 4. So, yeah, that was touching.
On that recap, when I wrote that, then between that and where she was supposed to forgive him, that was when when Maximus told her that he was not Titus.
Yes,
Yeah, I forgot
you're right.
That there in that recap.
No, you put it there. I accidentally skipped it, so
okay, sorry.
That's my fault. But
I thought that was
a
big point for Maximus' character growth.
Yeah, I think it was, because I was wondering when that was going to happen or if it was going to happen, because usually in every show or movie, it kind of plays out where, Lucy would have found out and been mad,
Like, how could you?
but it didn't work out that way. So I just thought it was just, again, clever writing, diverting expectations, and it turned out to be a very touching moment.
And it shows kind of her character again with, she's just quick to forgive or accept what happened in the past. And, that's okay. Let's just move on. We want to live in Vault 33.
I made note of how sweet it was. She was convincing him that he's good. You could have done this, but you did this. You could have done this, but you did this, even after she found out he lied. I thought that was a refreshing take, that she just forgave him immediately.
Yeah, and she was like, I just threw acid in someone's face, and I've only been up here for 2 weeks.
Well, that's the golden rule too, though, right?
He is real.
What was that, Alex?
I said that's the golden rule, though, too, right? She's going to do it to others how she would wish to be done to her.
Throw acid onto one's face, like you.
Well, not that, but I've done some things. I would hope that you'd forgive me, so in order, I should also forgive you, right?
Yeah.
But also, I'm just like, this woman is so eager to get a ring on it. Because she just
yeah, I know, right? I think it was more just like, because I didn't really catch this until the second watch, but truly everyone else has tried to kill her that she's met, and Maximus is like the only nice one that's actually tried to save her, even though he might have killed a few other people accidentally.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think she truly is just like, everyone else sucks.
Yeah, the bar is low, but I thought it was funny because she starts the conversation. She's like, "Yeah, I was supposed to marry this guy, but that didn't work out. Turns out that he was, he tried to kill me.
Yeah, stabbed me a little bit.
But you can move in the vault with me." like, oh my goodness, like. But yeah, I mean, I guess if that's the standards of the wasteland, you find a guy who doesn't want to kill you or SA you. That's probably
put a ring on it.
But yeah, put a ring on it.
This was one of my favorite romantic tropes, not the SA part, not the SA or put a ring on it part, but when they find each other in these insane conditions, they have a super niche connection, like in Bones and All, when they're have to survive eating humans, and they find each other on the road and just kind of shack up together, and they have this bond that nobody else understands. I really like that trope, as cheesy as that sounds.
Yeah, they've been through hell and back, right? Like they've gone through some
Right.
stuff together and stuck with each other.
I don't
So,
think that's cheesy.
Mhm.
It works, right?
It's a little corny. It's a little bit corny, maybe.
yeah, but it does work. I mean, I feel like whenever it's done well, you don't feel the corniness or whatever. But
I do think, and I wrote this in the notes. This is earlier on, though. I forgot to mention that I did think it was just the whole thing was. It does show how sweet Lucy is. Like, I thought it was really Lucy that she's like, sweet of Lucy that she, in the first place, she's like, hey, Maximus is a good guy. Like, can you let him stay? You know, and all that different stuff. And then, you know, it's not one of those things where it seems like she's like just super eager. She seems like she's just genuinely like, it's not like that she cares that she's not trying to get everybody to like her. You know, it's more kind of like she just really is that kind of person.
well, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that, but she was sacrificing her own happiness of being with Maximus for him to be in a better place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and from Maximus's point of view, he hasn't had anybody who's really treated him kindly either. So you have, Lucy now doing that, which is, seeing maybe his adaptation, going through time with him willing to give up the power core, because they needed it more than they did. So
yeah. Brotherhood of Steel didn't treat him like that.
No.
And then since we're on the end of that, right? Because I did want to mention though, she did convince him to return the power core reluctantly, right? Which is cool. I'm glad he did it and everything. However, that part pissed me off so much that they left the power or the power armor behind, specifically because that's what I was talking about in the video game, about how like in the video game the power cores run out and you just have to leave your shit like on a map, and then you have to like travel, find another power core, and travel all the way back. Like this dude had a power core, and in this TV show, like they don't run out. And I'm just like, you wasted it.
You're getting flashbacks to the game.
It was the Great War flashbacks. But that was just a little gamer.
My thought was it would have been more effective for him to keep the power core, go get Thaddeus, who had his power core, and then return it.
But he might not have. I mean, who knows if he would have ran into him again? You know, I don't know if that. I mean, he does obviously, but
they were tracking him, and
true.
He didn't know that he no longer had his power core either. So
true, yeah.
Well, then also I think
that would have been a fool's errand.
You know, for I guess a little plot armor here, but they did say that there's no idea how long it would have taken them to find Thaddeus. And they said with the reserve power, it would only last them like a week. So plot armor there. Like they're probably like the reasoning is like, well, we can't do that because if we leave them behind for more than a week, they're going to kill each other or die. So
yeah. And speaking of corny, I thought whenever he drops the power core down the chute and just hears a thank you. I don't know. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, okay.
Well, also the power core sounded like a tin can. It's like clink, clink, clink.
Yeah. All right. So
someone's slipping on the folio back there.
yeah. Okay. So Thaddeus, along with Dr. Wilzig's head and his badly injured foot, stops at a gas station and puts Wilzig's dog in a Nuka-Cola cooler and leaves her behind. Yeah. And then he meets the snake oil salesman who completely heals his foot with a mysterious serum in exchange for the power core that Thaddeus has. And the salesman tells him there's a nearby radio station where he can call the Brotherhood of Steel. So in this scene, I mean, I was just really happy to see the chicken fucker again, right? But the
magic man is my favorite.
But the funniest part to me was just he was ready to just like he had a gun in his mouth. He was just ready to go with his foot on the trigger,
trying to position his
with
toes.
his toes.
yeah. Yeah, but then just as he was about to, he's like, oh, one more chance to sell some snake oil, and runs over to him. So
Like, sorry, I don't know if you just said this or not, but that's like the second time in the series he's done that, all right?
I don't know. I thought that was the first time, but maybe I missed it.
Maybe it's just because I watched the series twice, but like I thought, yeah, I did think that was hilarious. He's just
he's about to do that, and then whenever Thaddeus like rolls up on him, he's like, "Don't kill me." So
He just grabs his suitcase and like saunters over.
Yeah, super funny, and that was a good scene. But I have to admit, whenever he heals his foot, I had no idea what was going on. I thought like, oh, whenever he was saying that earlier, I have what ails you. I have something that's going to cure you. Whenever he was like outside of Philly, if you guys remember, he was saying all that stuff, and I just thought he was completely bullshitting.
Yeah,
but he really did have something that would heal everything.
Yeah,
which sucks because in turn you could have healed Wilzig, like right then and there. But
it was a complete surprise that it actually worked. Because even with Thaddeus, you're thinking he's not going to get anything out of this. He's gonna end up dying or whatever. And sure enough, the foot heals right up.
The Magic Man is gonna end up one up. I've been calling him the Magic Man. He looks like magic spelled with a K. Just come into my lair with all my potions.
Yeah, he's sinister as hell.
His official name, as far as like this, the credits goes, is snake oil salesman. Though, like literally, is the snake oil salesman. He doesn't
slash chicken fucker.
Yeah, slash chicken fucker. Yeah, no, it to that point, or not to that point. We're talking about the healing the foot thing. That could be a derivative to the FEV, which is like the forced evolutionary virus, is something that's in the games, but I don't think it directly talks about like them healing limbs and things like that. But
okay, that's what I was wondering. Is like, do you ever find out how ghouls are made in the video games, or are you ever able to make a ghoul?
Well, it's all radiation based. So what you know about ghouls? Ghouls are a product of overexposure to radiation, and that's a constant like threat in the game. You have to stay. That's why you have to use Radaway, or you'll die, or you have I don't think you ever become a ghoul, but there's always that kind of threat of like, oh, if you get overradiated or you get bit by a ghoul, you'll become a ghoul. So my assumption is, it could be like the force evolutionary virus, or because they don't say, there's nothing in the game that matches the description of that particularly. It just sounds like it could be the FEV. But whatever it is, I definitely believe it has something to do with like using radiation to excel healing properties.
Yeah, but turning him into a ghoul in the process.
Yeah,
he got shot through the neck, remember? And it just started to heal.
And he wondered why he didn't die.
Yeah. Which we're gonna get there.
Okay.
So here I'll go ahead and just get into that part where at the radio station that he goes to, we meet DJ Carl, Fred Armisen, and Thaddeus tries to contact the Brotherhood. Lucy and Maximus arrive. Thaddeus fires at them and completely misses, which I thought was like maybe another video game commentary there.
No, I think that was just him being shitty shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering.
He didn't just fire on them. He unloaded on them. He shot everything he had, and then at the end he goes, "Wish I had my scope."
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I was thinking, like, okay, is this like some commentary on the game as far as like it being easier to shoot?
Oh, with that scope. Yeah, I thought about that too, and I don't necessarily think so, because like I haven't had any trouble. What he was using is a 10mm pistol, which is basically like a base weapon, Like it's not the best weapon, it's a common weapon, but it's the one it's reliable, right? So I don't necessarily think that's the case. It could be, but I haven't had that issue. However, I think it could be a commentary on games in general, and then also people who play games, because it's just like, hey man, like why, like, you know, for instance, I remember playing Call of Duty with my friends, and we were doing iron sights only on revolvers. And then I'm just like, I was making excuses. I couldn't hit anybody. I'm just like, you know what? Like if I had my irons, like if I had like a sight on this, like I could do it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it might be like, you know, just a gamer trope in that sense.
Okay. Yeah. I figured it was maybe something like that.
Yeah. That you pointed out, man.
But he misses everything. He doesn't hit them at all. But he does trigger a trap, and an arrow shoots him through the neck. But he doesn't die. He pulls the arrow out, and it just heals. Maximus then mentions that Thaddeus must be a ghoul, and as they're figuring that out, the Brotherhood helicopters approach. Maximus hands Lucy Wilkes's head and takes a decoy that he's going to present to the Brotherhood to protect Thaddeus so he can escape. So that was another touching moment of like, hey, these guys were at each other's throats. They wanted to kill each other, but still they're friends. And when when that situation happened, you can really see how Maximus really cares for Thaddeus still, and just
I didn't take it like that at all. I took it.
Oh, okay.
I took it as
think?
he just wanted the head, and then said, "Here, give me the head, and you take off, and I'll take care of them." But I didn't necessarily think that he was doing it because he was a friend. I was thinking that he was doing it because he wanted the head.
Oh, okay.
I thought the same thing, Paul. I did too.
Really? Okay. Because they did. He does say like, "I'm a ghoul. They're going to kill me."
Mm-hmm.
Like that was part of it, was because he is now a ghoul. They're not going to bring him back. They're not going to accept him back.
But
they would
just take the head.
But it was,
he didn't take.
Hey, give me the head, and you take off. But you know it was an exchange. It wasn't, what? What else?
It was transactional.
Yeah,
is what you're saying,
exactly.
right? Okay, maybe I have my rose-colored glasses on or something. I don't know, but I thought it was like he's doing him a solid, letting him escape, so he doesn't get killed.
I think it's doing him a solid.
I thought it appeared like he was doing him a solid, but Thaddeus is the one benefiting from it more.
I
mean, Maximus. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I believe he was doing both Lucy and Thaddeus a solid, because he never took the actual head. He crushed up a ghoul head, took that as a decoy, and he gave Lucy the head so she could go find her dad.
So I thought he was buying her time more than.
I mean, that
Thaddeus
potentially could be. I mean, it potentially. I would say for sure it's definitely more,
because
towards
if he
Lucy.
didn't present him with the head, they were going to keep looking for the head. So
yeah, I think
here you go. I got this head from Thaddeus. Lucy, they don't know you have the head.
And maybe it's not either or. I mean, like to your guys' point, maybe all of that is in there, right? Like it was beneficial to him, in the short term. And but I guess I was just thinking like he's kind of changing a little bit. When he first gets out there, he is looking out for himself only, but now he has other people that he's looking out for because of the experiences. So I don't know. I just thought it was kind of growing as a character a little bit.
Well, what I wrote down is I think that this is one of the more apparent points to me where you see Maximus changing because of Lucy's influence. I thought, Lucy's rubbing off on him. His heart softened. He's got Lucy kissed him, and he's got this romance and stuff going on. So I think that and also another way that you could look at it could, if we're going to go on the side of Maximus being kind of selfish, is maybe he did the good thing, quote unquote, for Thaddeus to please Lucy. right? Because she would have saw that and be like, oh, that's some golden rule shit right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and who knows? So hey, anyone listening, tell us what you think. I mean,
Yeah.
that is, yeah. Leave it in the comments. Tell us if you think it was a
Hello.
little bit selfish for him to do that, or if it was selfless for him to do that.
And I want to point out one more thing. I know we're going back a little bit, but I read this in my notes and I thought this was really funny. I just forgot to mention earlier, but like when Thaddeus got his leg healed and he's like, oh man, I can't go there. That's full of radiation. And then the snake oil salesman says, a little too late for that, huh, buddy boy?
Yeah,
Like,
we don't have
just
to
like-
worry
he's
about
like-
that anymore.
And like, he's like, what do you mean? And he just runs off and he
Yeah.
goes, toodaloo. Or toodaloo,
he's
it ain't on or something like that. And on.
Yeah, he'll find out later.
Yeah.
I thought it
Um,
was funny when he also said, I should have never trusted a doctor that smelled like that.
Yeah, you know, Thaddeus said some really funny shit too, like you know, earlier on when he actually pulls the sock off and his foot's all falling apart, and he's just
Oh.
like, he's like, man, I'm about to die. Like he just says it like really, like nonchalantly, like I'm gonna die.
His foot was fucking busted,
yes.
and he trekked through the wasteland on that thing. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
He's a G. I also thought it was kind of funny. We talked about this a little bit, but the way they just burned some audio files, the way Fred Armisen is talking about the bass and the treble and the mids and
The
how
mids.
like this music's really good, and Thaddeus is like, yeah.
He's like,
The mids,
especially
right?
the mids.
That's
And
the
he's like,
mids.
yeah. And he's like,
oh yeah,
no.
that's the mid right there.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, it just reminds me of just people with horrible taste in music, but they hear something that they like for some reason, you know. But yeah, that was good. Okay, so moving on. Lucy and Maximus share a tender moment. Lucy asks Maximus to come home with her to the vault. After the mission, they share a kiss before parting, and Maximus heads back toward the Brotherhood, and Lucy toward Moldaver's location. So was this the part you were talking about, Sid? Where you were saying how what was it?
Forgot. I don't know.
You said that you cried? Was this the part?
No, the dog part.
Oh, the dog
specifically
part.
the dog part. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
I thought this
Part was what
they didn't just simply kiss. There was some emotion and passion to it. It was an extended kind of thing where, you know,
Yeah. He went
there
back
were
for
some
seconds.
feelings going both ways.
That was just a touching moment. I was like, oh, that's
And
so
again,
cute,
from
finally.
Maximus's point of view, he's never had that we know of. So,
Mhm.
you know, somebody being
His cock
kind
might have
to
exploded.
him, and yeah, popping a pimple down the road is perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, where's my fucking oysters?
But you know what? The kiss, it really felt earned. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you're watching a movie or a show, it just feels like you can tell that the writers are just kind of making something happen. But with this, it just felt like, yeah, this is a natural thing. It I don't know. It didn't feel too rushed, I guess.
Well, as Alex said, she just wants a ring on it. So I always feel like she's just looking for a potential mate anywhere she's going. So
Yeah, it can't be that she's actually into Maximus, right?
No,
There are not a lot of options. It's either her cousin, that Raider, or
The
Maximus.
ghoul, yeah, or Maximus.
Yeah.
Now, and actually, before this scene, like I mentioned, I forgot to put this in there. But did we want to go over? Because right before the radio scene, it was the ghoul ends up at the Red Rocket gas station, finds dog meat, and then has that whole flashback. I think we should talk about that if you guys want to talk.
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Don't make me relive it. Ah!
Yeah, what was the flashback again? What? Just go into that a little bit if you can recall.
So
I don't
yeah,
have
so
it here in my notes.
he and I'm just going by what I wrote down because I forgot to put it in the notes. I'm sorry, but so basically he gets dog meat, and then they kind of flash back to these memories of him and his wife, and that's where he has the receiver, and he hooks it up to her pit boy, and he's spying on them outside. Him and his daughter, or his wife and his daughter, Bob and his daughter.
Yeah, she made
And then
cocoa and for
making
everybody.
cocoa, right?
Yeah,
And then his dog, Roosevelt, I think, was like whining at him. And he's like, "Oh, you're right, Roosevelt. Let me, I
Yeah.
should be spying.
What am
on
I
them."
doing? Yeah.
And then later on that night, he is sitting down in his room smoking a cigarette, and that same Vault-Tec commercial that he did comes on with the hawthorns and everything in it.
And it hits different, right? Like
Yeah.
because he's come back from that meeting, he now is looking at that ad and the company a lot differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then that's when he decides a change of heart, right? Like he's like, okay, something in that ad sets him off. He goes, digs through the trash with Roosevelt, finds the piece, and then can't remember exactly what he said, but at this point, it looks like he's deciding that he's going to go ahead. Oh, he says, "No dogs in the vault, my ass," or something like that.
Yeah.
and then that's when
really
he
stuck with him.
Yeah, and then I think after that, that's when he wakes up, and then he's sitting at a campfire next to Dog Meat, and he goes, that's when he said, "Sorry, Dog Meat, you ain't him," or "Sorry, Dog Meat, yeah, sorry, Dog Meat, you ain't him."
Mm-hmm.
And then that's
good
when
point.
it goes to the Carl. So if we wanted to talk about that, I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't mention all of that.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because that, I think, really plays out, if I recall, it really plays out in the next episode, as far as what happens with that receiver. But yeah, I think he's turned a little bit. He's taken a turn to where he's like, you know what? I want to find out for myself.
But he listened and then said, "Oh, I'm just being ridiculous," and stopped listening. So, it's I am a little interested, but you know what? I'm being ridiculous. So, I assume we're going to see him look further into, spying on her more.
We will see. Yeah. And another little Easter egg, maybe it's not, maybe it's just me completely, fabricating this, but doesn't it look like that device is kind of like a gear, which is similar to the logo of the company that made Fallout, the video game?
Oh, Bethesda GameWorks?
Yeah.
Maybe, but I'm going to say probably not. It's like a chicken and egg thing, is like, because
maybe,
the gear came after they made Fallout, but it could be a reference to that. But the gear is more associated specifically, I think, with me to Vault-Tec, because they have the vault doors. Everything's, a gear.
Oh, okay. So it looks kind of like that.
Yeah.
The door. Okay.
So
yeah. I mean,
think, but it
was
could
recognizable.
I'm not going to say that it wasn't, a Bethesda GameWorks Easter egg too. It could have been, but for me personally, as I'm watching it, I'm just thinking, oh, it's Vault-Tec. Of course, it looks like a vault.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of, inside Vault 33, assignments are being made. And some residents, including Woody, Chet, Stephanie, they all move to Vault 32. Stephanie becomes the newly chosen overseer, matter of fact, of Vault 32. Norm continues his investigation of Vault 31's secrets. He ends up hacking Overseer Betty's terminal and initiates a transmission to Vault 31. So he's pretending to be Betty in distress, and he gets a response urging him to come to Vault 31. And when he walks in there he's met with something shocking. And my question to you guys is, what do you think he sees?
Is it
Not
snip,
you,
snip?
Alex. Snip, snip.
Is it snip, snip?
I know exactly what it is.
New York City.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. It's the butt eye.
You better not.
It's the butt eye. It's definitely.
What do you think it is, Paul?
I have no idea.
Or who? Or what?
A different world. A different world from what 33 is. But I assume if they're taking people from 31 to be leaders in 33, that they would be making 33 like 31.
Okay.
Trying to make it that way. But, as was alluded to in Vault 4, what experiments were they doing on you? So, I don't know if every vault has its own set of experiments, or that was just coming from her limited experience in Vault 4, where that's what they do is experiments.
More to come on that. I want to dive into that. But Sydney, what did you think? Any guesses as far as who or what he saw that shocked him?
Probably someone eating someone.
Okay, like there's a cannibal
Very
in there.
Resident Evil. That's actually very. The door opens, and on the other side of the door, it's somebody eating somebody.
The barbarian lady.
Oh shit! Mommy milkers, what's up?
There was just some weird noises. It sounded squishy and bloody to me.
Okay.
I don't know what was going on.
No, it's the butt.
We'll find out in the next episode. But to your point, Paul, let me ask you this. Do you think that they're running an experiment in her vault? Because whenever it was brought up, in Vault 4, they mentioned like, hey, these are the experiments that we have going on over here. What experiments do you have going on? And Lucy didn't know.
Right. She said, we don't have any going on.
Right. And then the other person in the vault, I can't remember her name, but she was like, well, your ignorance isn't an excuse. Like, she didn't even believe her. She thought that they were running experiments in that vault. But what do you guys think?
I
Are
think
they not?
At the time, I definitely thought that different vaults were set up with different types of experiments.
Okay. What about you, Sid?
Like she was saying before, that each vault definitely has their own brand of weird, but I do think that lady is a gaslighting bitch.
Who, Birdie?
Yeah, Birdie.
But she's
so she
from
ain't
Shady
Birdie was pretty
Sands.
genuine.
She's not an original vaultie. So
Does that give her more credibility?
I think so.
I think it gives her less credibility. She doesn't know what's going on in the other vaults.
Okay.
Well, not necessarily Birdie, but I think the Overseer gives it credibility. Because it was the Overseer that asked Lucy, what experiments are they doing in yours? It wasn't Birdie who asked her that.
No, but Birdie didn't believe that there wasn't any. She figured there were experiments going on.
No, I understand that, but for the on Lucy's part, and we're thinking about, because Lucy said there are none, and we're asking if we think that there are any going on in the vaults, right? Birdie had nothing to do with telling her about that, right? It was the Overseer who said, asked her like, what experiment are they doing in your vault? So the Overseer, who's a native, is asking her that. So obviously, as far as credibility goes, this guy has been in the vault since day one.
But you can't believe anything he says. His great grandfather was a gulper.
I think that gives him more credibility. But no, I'll give you my perspective from before I watched it. Right when I first saw this, the perspective that I'm coming from is, I think it's leaning that way, right? Because they mentioned that there are experiments. He asks, what's the experiments going on in your vault? Which to me kind of implies, that. And then also another, like, kind of what I put together is with Barb talking about the good vaults, right? The management vaults. So what's so good about the management vaults as opposed to the others? So I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, there's something screwy going on. And then when he said that, I'm like, yeah, there probably is something going on with all three of those vaults, because they're connected, 31, 33, and 32. So that was the thought I had before we got to the next episode.
Question. Just so I know I'm talking about the right person. Birdie is the one that was like, I'm banishing you out. You came into our vault and caused us. Yeah, no, I don't like her.
The Semi babe.
Yeah,
she's kind
wonder
of
if we'll see her again. But yeah, I thought it was just an interesting situation where, because Lucy, she left before all of this investigation of the other vaults started, with her brother. So she has this totally different view of their vaults. But just after she left, like immediately after she left, Norm is starting to uncover like, wait, there's a lot going on here that we just didn't know about. And Lucy doesn't know anything about all that stuff.
Well, and I think Norm.
He's
Good, sorry.
He's cracking it from the inside. She's doing the dirty on the outside.
Yeah.
But he
That's
still
a good way to
doesn't
look at
really
it.
know anything.
Right. Yeah.
But
He doesn't.
and I don't think that the funny thing is like Norm's is more deliberate, and I think hers is kind of just by chance. But I think that she would definitely be, had she not left the vaults, like her and Norm would be working together to figure out what's going on, because Norm clocked that after Lucy left, that there was something with the system that was wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then also, I think another thing that we forgot to mention there is that in that scene beforehand, when they were switching the vaults, that all the raiders had gotten poisoned.
That's true. Yeah.
And who
Right.
poisoned
Man,
them?
my recap sucks today. Sorry.
Yeah. I wrote it, so
I was just kidding.
yeah.
But yeah, like they all got poisoned, and it was the jailer that just loved eating some Jello and like playing her card games. She got blamed for it, but I don't know if that's who actually poisoned them.
Pobrecita. Well, also, I mean, I think Barb didn't straight up like, she's like, they're taking her away from it because she's the most obvious. But Barb, I think, said like, we don't know who did it, and everybody wants something to talk about.
Yeah, it felt very swept under the rug.
Well, I felt like they were just blaming the easiest person, and well, people love drama anyways.
Red herring. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And oh, never mind that. Now we're moving into the other vaults, and so it's just kind of like, yeah. Again, I think social commentary is there as far as like something happens, and you kind of distract people with like, oh, let's just focus on this other thing. Let's focus on moving on the vaults. Don't really worry about who got poisoned and how.
Yeah, it's called misdirection.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that.
The one
Kennedy assassination and such.
One thing that really surprised me was when, I don't remember his name, the kind of chunky guy from 33 that had to go to 32, who was running for overseer.
Woody.
When he tried to walk out and there was guards. And that's kind of been the first instance within the vault of seeing any type of people just not going along with something, and maybe how they handle it.
Yeah. It's a new day in the vaults. What were you going to say, Sid?
I just had to chime in on Chet carrying around that baby.
Yeah. At least he wasn't wearing the scarf and sweater.
Like what did he get himself into?
Well, it's just funny that like it's almost like he had no choice, and I don't even think that was like an official vault assignment. I think Stephanie just straight up is just like, yeah, I'm moving in, and you're gonna take care of my baby, bitch.
Yeah. Well, she was like, I'm gonna be holding the baby, so you got to move this stuff.
Yeah. So why can't I hold the baby? You just killed a guy.
She like almost threw on the deal with it sunglasses.
Yeah. And when Norm calls him a coward.
Yeah, that's great too.
Yeah,
oh, that was a good.
That's why we're all cowards. That's why we're involved.
Oh yeah, I wrote that quote down. I wish I'd remembered that, but I'm glad you brought it up. That was a really good quote.
Really good quote.
That's why we live in a vault.
Yeah. So this episode for me, I mean, just to get into like just some overall thoughts again, I love how everything seems to be coming together. There's still some very big mysteries out there. What did Norm see when he went into that other vault? Are we going to get to see Lucy, reunite with her dad or save her dad? What's going to happen to Maximus? And, these are all like big things that I think are things that we're supposed to be asking, questions about as we go into the last episode. But
any closing thoughts?
Yeah,
lads.
Well, I was going to say, I think that this is a really good episode where you kind of you're seeing the convergence now, right? So next episode, it's like they're setting it up perfectly for all the questions to be answered, I think. Where's the compass pointing? It's Griffith Park or Griffith Observatory. So,
Yep.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. All of that stuff. I was gonna say one last thing. Is like, you ever notice that the ghoul is always the one rescuing the dog?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
He seemingly doesn't care about the thing, but he's.
Well, I kind of take it as I took it as almost endearment, even though you're never gonna be that dog, but he still, took care of the dog. So, I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't know, beating up a little brother or something like that. You have this love for them, but you're always saying, you're still not good enough.
Well, and then also we know he just is from his past life, he was a dog lover, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got Roosevelt, and he had a whole movie called The Man and His Dog with his dog in it. So, as outside of his tough exterior, like on the inside, he's obviously a big old softy for quadrupeds.
Of course, he's gonna pull that dog out of the Nuka-Cola storage container. Why would Thaddeus leave him in there? I never got that.
I was wondering the same
He's
thing.
a total dick.
I was wondering the same
Like,
thing.
tie him up or tie her up, like.
I feel like it's just as bad.
But I mean, it's worse than shoving her in a
Oh,
box.
like tie her to something like a
Yeah.
leash. Oh, I thought you meant like
Yeah.
hog tie. I was sitting there thinking about hog tying her. I'm like, that's even worse.
No, dude,
Yeah.
man. Where your mind goes sometimes.
I mean,
Alex.
I've been watching Yellowstone recently, so a lot of hog
Okay.
tying going on.
All right, and then Sid,
But you
overall
were
thoughts
s-
for you? Bro, go ahead.
I can't wait to see where this goes. It's gonna be hard for me not to watch the next episode when we end this. But
Just got a
Hey,
couple
you
we're
said
more
there's
allowed.
more on the dog. There's more on the dog, right? Coming. You're saying?
We'll never
You don't
tell. Gotta
Okay.
watch and find out.
Well, I can't wait to watch the next episode and for the new season to come out next Thursday on December 17th. So
Yeah.
thank you guys. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode as we covered season 1, episode 7 of Fallout. Join us next week as we cover episode 8, which is the last episode of season 1. Like I said, the next season comes out December 17th. So we can all catch up and watch together and discuss and chat and chill. Till next week, I would love to know, would you take potions from a magic man in the desert if you were desperate enough? I think I would be the magic man in this scenario.
You'd be
If I
given the
was in the
potion.
wasteland, I would want to be the magic man. What
Sounds
about
like
you guys?
Sounds like Burning Man.
Yeah, if my foot was that jacked up, I mean, somebody needs to help me. I can't do it.
That's my answer too. If I'm that.
I mean, I want to die
Pull
anyway.
me up.
Yeah. My two
Roll
options
me.
is
Figured same.
amputate and cauterize my leg, or take this, roll the dice on this serum. Either way, I'm not going to be having a good time.
I know. Well, let us know in the comments, everybody. And please like and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Twitter/X. And please give us 5 stars. 5 stars or no stars, please.
5 stars only,
stars,
everybody.
though. 5 stars only. Thank you for listening. And that's a wrap on this week's episode of Cinema So Far.